how Arjuna has been lamenting till now for this five reasons. He's not ready to fight. And then Krishna slowly takes him to the path of bhakti. But then the first 6 chapters is about karma yoga. So he's telling that as a kshatriya, it's your duty. So it's your duty to fight. And then Krishna emphasizes on the point that he should fight. But whatever Arjuna is doing, it's not karma bound. Why? Because he's doing for Krishna, right? It's in Krishna consciousness. Whatever he's doing, it's in Krishna consciousness. So similarly, his duty is to fight as a kshatriya. That's his duty, to fight. And if he don't fight, then it's going to be a sinful activity for him. But if he fight, then that's for dharma, what he is doing. So we have to start from 13, right? So I'll just start from 13. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasaste sukamvasi navadware pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan. When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all action, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates material body, neither working nor causing work to be done. So what happens when we controls our mind, mainly the mind, right, and the senses, then we can be happy in wherever we are. So the 9 gates, as we know, 2 eyes, 2 ears, nose, then genitals, rectals, and everything. And so Bhagavad Gita here says about 5:13 to 16 is about knowledge of the 3 doers, right? So who is actually the 3 doers? Are we the real doer, or is there somebody else? You can raise a digital hand. Who is the real doer? Who is actually doing all the activities? Yes, Deval Mataji.
The soul, the super soul, and the prakriti.
Yeah, what is the connection between the 3? You know, is there any connection between the 3? How are they related?
The super soul sanctions the desires of the soul.
Yes, the super soul sanctions, and the soul desires. And what was the material nature? What does the material nature do? Okay, you're right. Desiring is done by the soul, and sanctioning is done by the super soul. So the 3 modes of nature, does it have a role? Yeah, so actually the 3 modes of the nature is the one who carries it out. Okay, like the soul have the desire, so it's actually we who initiates the action, like we desire, right? So but then the super soul sanctions, but then Krishna sanctions even the evil things. No, like we desire something negative, still Krishna sanctions it. Why? Yes,
Mataji, like a loving father. He's a loving father. Like if a child wants to eat chocolate, father will say no. But still, if he wants to eat, he will give some liberty to do. In the same way, Krishna gives us a chance to do like whatever we want, so that we can learn the lessons.
Yeah. So about the chocolate, that's about the free will. That's the free will. That you know how Krishna doesn't say which chocolate to say, like the father doesn't say which chocolate. So that's a minute independence. Okay. But the free will which you're saying is like a child want to play with a knife or fire, and still the father allows. Why? So that he learns from the mistake, as mother said. Yes, so that we learn. So we are not the doer. So we should not be proud of anything that we think that we are the doer. So we are not actually the doer. One who understands that he is not the material body or senses is not concerned with their satisfaction. He appreciates that he has no direct control over material phenomenon. So attachment to them is useless. He is too busy serving the Lord in blissful Krishna consciousness to take to mundane sense gratification. Then surrender to the super soul. So first what happens is detachment from material events. Then finally we surrender. Emotionally fixes our mind, intelligence, faith on the super soul. Thus one can get fully cleansed of the misgivings through complete knowledge and attain liberation. Okay. Na kartatvam na karmani lokshasya shajati prabhu na karma phala samyogam swabhavastu pravartate. The embodied spirit, master of the city of his mind, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act. nor does he create the fruits of action. All this enacted by the modes of material nature. So there's a modes of material nature who actually carries it out, right? So Krishna is aloof, like a high court judge. Is high court judge having a bad karma because he hangs a person? No, that's his duty and he's aloof from it, right? So similarly, Krishna is just a witness. He's not affected by anything. So the living entity is the superior energy of the Lord. Okay, and who's Anu? We are Anu, and Krishna is Vibhu. Okay, so the ignorance is the cause of suffering for the conditioned soul. So when we are ignorant that, oh, we are this body, then we suffer. So identifying oneself with the body and its activities is a sign of ignorance, and the conditioned soul suffers because of ignorance. So that's why reading Shastra is very important, so that we get knowledge, jnana, and then with this jnana, we can cut the attachments. So the soul is neither the proprietor nor the controller of action and reaction of the body. He is simply being tossed in the waves of material. So actually the soul is not completely responsible. Even the modes of material nature is acting. So what is the best way to get out of the water is by transcendental Krishna consciousness. Nadatte kasyachit papam nachaiva sukritam vipu atnyene vradam jnanam tena muhyanti jnatava. Nor does the super soul assume in even sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge. So the super soul is not responsible for your sinful activities or pious activity. Now, whenever you do punya and you have happiness, we forget Krishna. But then when there is sinful reactions coming in form of disease, or then some court cases, or that is legal implications, and then there is so many other problems, then what happens? We blame the Lord, right? Why you're doing this? But actually it is us. We are responsible for our suffering. One in knowledge sees material nature as being under Lord's control, and thus the Lord as the ultimate performer and the cause of all actions. The Supreme Lord is Vibhu. Okay, this is another question of Bhakti Shastri about the Vibhu and Anu. So Vibhu is the omniscient Krishna, the Lord, and Anu is us. Anorahiniya Mahato Mahiya. We are just small spark, and Krishna is the unlimited. Since material nature work under the Supreme Lord, he is thus the ultimate performer and cause of all action. Right? He remains the cause, but he is actually not the cause. You understood? That means he is not really responsible for our actions. We are responsible because the soul desired and the material nature carries it out. Thus, is the Lord responsible for all the good and bad things in the material world? No, the Lord only sanctions the desires, right, of the minute independent living entities. He's sanctioning and he's witnessing. He's aloof. It's the soul who initiated the desire. Therefore, the living entity is responsible for good and bad reaction. And the Lord is neutral to everyone. Like he says, Samoham sarva puteshu name dveshena sthina priya ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya mai te teshu chahyaham. When one desires Krishna, Lord takes special care and encourage one's desire in such a way that one attains him and live eternally happy. I just saw some raised hand. No? Okay, so the Lord is neutral to everyone. But whoever is a devotee, Lord takes special care of the devotee, right? So if you desire Krishna, then you get Krishna. That's what Rupa Goswami says. We just need desire. So what is the difference between soul and the super soul? Both are eternal, right? Sat. We are all Sat. But then we are blissful, but we suffer because we're covered by Maya. And super soul is always blissful, above the three modes. He's transcendental, right? And we are cognizant of this body, and super soul is cognizant of all the bodies. So Anu is atomic and Vibhu is omniscient. And soul has minute independence to desire, but is independent upon the super soul to fulfill the desire. And super soul is completely independent. Swarat. He is not dependent on anyone. When you say he is not dependent on anyone, but Krishna depends on Yashoda Maya, no? Krishna becomes hungry. He goes to his mother to get food. Then what is that? That's not dependence. Yes. Who knows? Yeah, they will, Mataji.
It's just pastime, Mataji.
Yes, giving pleasure to the devotee.
Yeah.
Yeah, so giving pleasure to the devotee. And in fact, Krishna likes it. It is said in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion, that when we worship Krishna with raw and reverence and so much of Aishwarya Bhav, Krishna is okay, happy. But then when Krishna becomes subordinate to his devotees, or when a devotee considers Krishna insignificant, in the sense not as Bhagavan, but as just a small cowherd boy or just as a baby, then Krishna likes it. Krishna likes to be controlled by his devotees. So, in that is not of his dependence. I mean, that is not real dependence. That is because out of love and compassion for the pure devotees, Krishna shows that dependence. Like you have their deity at home, your Ladu Gopal, Bal Gopal, Gaur Nitais, or Radha Krishna. You have your deities. So unless you offer bhog, they can't get prasad. No, they're depending on you. Unless you change the dress of the deities, they have to be there, and you decorate them. So all this is done by you. So that deities are depending on you. But that's a special mercy of the deities to you. It's not like Krishna is hungry. Prabhupada says Krishna is not hungry for your food. Krishna is just hungry for the love of the devotee. He's waiting for that. So this is a connection. So all of you, please make a note of this. The soul desires it, right? The super soul sanctions it, and the modes of material nature fulfills it. Understood? This is how it is dependent on each other. So this is a relationship with the soul, super soul, and the modes of nature. So this is what the doers are. These are the real doers. The soul is desiring. Yes, we desire for something, and super soul has to sanction. It is said even a blade of grass doesn't move without Krishna's sanction. So everything in this world, Prabhupada mentions, if Krishna desires my hand should not move, it won't move. The next moment I'm moving my hand, I'm taking a breath, I'm closing my eyes, blinking. All this is Krishna's desire. Krishna is sanctioning it. If Krishna doesn't sanction, I can't lift my hand. I won't be able to blink. I won't be able to breathe. See, he's sanctioning every moment. So that means every moment we are dependent on Krishna. We don't realize it, right? We don't realize it. So the soul desires and super soul sanctions, and modes of material nature fulfills it. If we desire good things, if we desire things in Krishna consciousness, oh, I want to chant more, I want to chant Shuddhanam, I want to increase my quality of japa, or tomorrow's Ekadashi, I want to do nice reading of the Shastras, I want to hear nice lectures and stay my mind fixed in Krishna consciousness. Krishna will help it. He will sanction it, right? And the modes of material nature in Shuddha Sattvagan fulfills it. But if your desire is to rob a bank or cause hurt to others or something, still Krishna as super soul sanctions it. But some desires are not sanctioned by the super soul, no? Like you desire to be rich. Can all of us become crorpatis? Why Krishna is not sanctioning it? Yes? Hare Krishna. I've unmuted everyone. You can say.
He reciprocates according to our bhakti, and he knows how much we deserve.
Yeah, but you are a great devotee, you are a Uttama Adhikari, but Krishna don't give wealth
Depends
to
on
you.
our
Also our
karma
past
also.
karmas and everything.
Karma Mataji.
Then
Yeah.
what do you say?
So,
Anartha.
whatever we deserve and desire is different, right? So we get only what we deserve, right? So if we are not deserving it, how do we get it? Did you do some ajnana subritis or so much of karma, good karmas to get it? No, if we didn't do, and that's not only karma. There's one more important factor, which is that which help us to get what we desire. Very important thing.
Mercy. That's his
Yeah.
mercy.
So mercy of Krishna as well as the Vaishnavas. So definitely we need the mercy of the Lord. So there is something called sadhana siddhas, kripa siddhas, right? Nitya siddhas. So is there any difference between the three? Who knows? Kripa siddhas, sadhana siddhas, and nitya siddhas. What's the difference?
Nitya Siddha is liberated souls.
Liberated souls,
And
yes.
sadhana siddha are conditioned, but we are like doing our sadhana, chanting and all to become.
Through sadhana you get, yes.
Yeah.
And
And
kripa
Kripa
siddha?
siddha is by serving the devotee, Uttamadhikari.
Not only devotees, even Krishna, yes. So the mercy. So they get the mercy. That's called kripa siddha. So you can attain a perfection through three ways. One is your personal sadhana. You do nice sadhana, nice bhajan, and then definitely you can go back to Krishna. Second is by the mercy of Krishna and Vaishnavas. So it doesn't mean you sit simply at home and the mercy comes to you. No, you should put your endeavor. Yes, someone put in the chat. Who was that? Yeah, Dinesh Prabhu. With our endeavor is there, right? That we should see. Why did Yashodamaya run behind Krishna to bind him in the Damodar Leela? So the 2-finger shot, that was the mercy of Krishna and our endeavor. Two things are required. Okay, so the super soul as a sanctioner is not responsible for action, but the soul, the living entity, initiates the desire. Modes of material nature are the agents of the Lord in fulfilling that desire of the living entity. So it leads us to a state of perfect knowledge and we achieve happiness and real peace. So before desiring something, we should check whether I deserve it. Only if you deserve, you desire. So that's why the devotee doesn't dictate to Krishna, Krishna, do this, do this, do this. No, you should not do that. No? Sometimes Prabhupada says, why do you go to the church and say, give me my daily bread? Krishna gives. Krishna feed. Doesn't Krishna feed the hundreds of elephants in the African forest or so many ants in your house? Another example Prabhupada was saying, I was listening to his lectures. He say, monkeys, okay? Nobody feeds the monkeys. I mean, unless you see someone like a monkey coming to a Hanuman temple or Ram temple and then they serve. But then you go to Vrindavan, nobody serves the monkey. Why? Once you serve, they're going to eat your head. I mean, they're going to be very, very, very vigorous and they're going to attack you and scratch you and bite you and whatnot, right? So, because they're not satisfied. So you don't feed a monkey. Who's feeding them then? Yeah, sometimes we don't know whether we deserve or not. So that's why devotees pray in such a way that Krishna, if you desire so. Like Krishna, I want this, comma, if you desire so. No, that should be our prayer. If Krishna willing, that should be our prayer. Not like Krishna, do this, do this. Krishna is not your order carrier. Krishna, you can't dictate Krishna and make him do things. No, right? Whatever Krishna desire, that will happen. Okay. They take jabamalas also. These monkeys in Vrindavan, what to do? Yeah. ज्ञानेनो तु तत् अज्ञानं येषां नाशितमात्मना तेषाम् आदित्यवज्ञानं प्रकाशयति तत्परम्. When, however, one is enlightened with knowledge by which nascence is destroyed, then his knowledge reveals everything as the sun lights up everything in the daytime. So when we are get enlightened by knowledge, then all the darkness is destroyed, right? So tesham sadadiptanam bhajatam pritipurvakam tadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti. The 10th chapter, 10th sloka, Krishna says, right? So if we are doing devotional service, then he will give you the buddhi yoga. And teshamevanukampartam aham ajnanajam tamahan nashayami atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhashati. He gives you the knowledge, being the Chaitya Guru in your heart, right? So transcendental knowledge will enlighten us and remove all the confusions of bewilderment. And transcendental knowledge is achieved when one surrenders to Krishna, just as the sun lights up everything in daytime. To know that we are not the body, but spirit soul, that's the real knowledge. To know the difference between matter and spirit. To know that we can never become God, but we are eternally different from the Lord in quantity. In quality, we are same. And a bewilderment is caused to identify oneself with matter, to think oneself as God. That is also wrong. That's Mayavadi concept. And to get real knowledge, we should have a bona fide spiritual master. Such a bona fide spiritual master never claims that he is God. Although he's paid all respect, ordinary pain to God, because he has knowledge of God. And Kintu Prabhuya Priyayeva Tasya. They are very dear to Krishna. So a spiritual master, Sakshat Haritvena Samasta Shastra, is considered as the representative of Krishna. So we worship him, but he never claims to be God. So Chaitanya Charitamrita Mandirila says, Krishna Surya Sama Maya Hoya Antakar Yaha Krishna Taha Nahi Mayara Adhikara. The Lord is just like effulgent sun. Consequently, whenever the Supreme Personality Godhead is present, there cannot be darkness or ignorance. Actually, this dark universe is illuminated by the sun. But the sun and moon simply reflect the bodily effulgence of the Supreme Lord. So whenever there is sun, there is no darkness. Similarly, whenever there's Krishna, there is no Maya. So whereas the sun and moon are coming from, it is actually the bodily effulgence of the Lord. Prabhasmi Shashi Surya, it's Krishna. And the sun and moon are the eyes of the Lord. So practical application is one who takes shelter of the super soul in full knowledge, become impartial in material transactions, and finds quick path to liberation. So we understood the relationship between soul, super soul, and the modes of nature, right? Soul desires, super soul sanctions, material nature carries it out. And this knowledge will remove the ignorance. So we know we are not the doer. We won't be proud of anything that, oh, I did that. No, it's not me who did it. Nimitta matram bhavesavve sachin. Krishna says, Arjuna, you become an instrument. When ignorance is removed, the living entity takes shelter of the super soul and attain perfection. So when a poet uses a pen to write a beautiful poem, or an artist use the canvas and the painting brush to paint something, does the painting brush or the pen claim that he did everything? It's actually the writer who did it or the painter who painted it, right? So similarly, we are an instrument in Krishna's hands. How can we claim that we did it, right? The super soul, Krishna is doing it. That's why when someone praise someone, he should say it's Guru's mercy or it's Krishna's mercy coming, right? Tat budayastad-atmanas tannishtastad-parayanah gachanti apunar avartim jnana niruddhata kalmasha. When one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuge are all fixed in the Supreme, then one becomes cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge and then proceeds straight on the path of liberation. So when will you go to the path of liberation? When you get complete knowledge about the Lord. And we become cleansed of all the misgivings. All the anarthas goes away. That's called anarthanevati stage. Becoming fixed in the Supreme. So in the 9 stages of Bhakti, which is that stage called fixing, getting fixed? Starting with, now what are the 9 stages? In that 9 stages, which is a stage which is called becoming fixed in devotional service?
Nishtha.
Yes, Nishtha. Okay. So Nishtha, that means Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anarthanivritti, Nishtha. So this Nishtha means fixed. Fixed means what? That you don't fall down from your position. Actually, a devotee should always pray. Even if you are a pure devotee, Uttamadhikari, still you should be careful of not falling into Maya. We should be always careful and pray to Krishna, right? So Nishtha means becoming fixed in devotional service. Steadiness or fixedness. What do you mean by that? Can someone explain? Fixed means what? Something more about that. What is the aspect of becoming fixed in devotional service?
Happiness and distress should not disturb.
Yes, that is one thing. Then everyone can unmute. Happiness and distress should not disturb you.
Sustained.
Yes, should be sustained.
Equipoised, Mataji.
Equipoised in the time of happiness, distress, the same point. That means we should not fall down from the position. Whatever happens, Mayavadis attack us or atheist comes or we get influenced by Maya, you should not fall from being in the position, right? Significance of the word supreme means the whole Bhagavad Gita centers around the declaration that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Paratatva, meaning supreme reality, who is understood by knowers of the Supreme Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavad. By fixing one's mind, intelligence, faith, and refuge in Krishna, one is washed of all misgivings. One achieves perfect knowledge in everything concerning transcendence. Thus, one achieves through understanding that there is duality in Krishna. There is simultaneous identity and individuality, right? What is that concept? Simultaneously, identity and individuality.
Achintya
Achintya
Achintya.
So that means simultaneously we have our identity. That means Jiva Goswami gives an example: the green tree going into a green bird going into a green tree. It looks as if merging, but we are not actually getting merged to the Supreme Brahman. It looks like merging, but then we have our identity. You go closer, you can see the green parrot sitting on the green tree. So there is the identity. The fish into the water, there is identity, and individuality is there. At the same time, we are similar with the Lord in quality. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni Cheva Swapakecha Pandita Samadarshina. This is another important sloka. The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, elephant, dog, and a dog eater. So that means, why does he see everyone equally? Put in the chat. A Pandita sees everyone equal. Why? Hmm. So he sees the Paramatma super soul in everyone, right? Does anyone know an example of a king who is the best example for this? He saws everyone equal. Who was that? Yeah, he's Uttamatikari. Yes, he sees the super
It's
soul.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Oh, Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. I'm asking some king. Okay, another clue is he was fasting and then he gave his prasad to whoever came. Who was that?
Ambarish Maharaj.
Amrish
Ambarish
Maharaj.
Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj didn't give the prasad to everyone. He just broke his fast when Durvasa Muni came. Initially, one person came, he gave the rice. Another person came, he gave the water. And then another Chandala came with dogs. So he was fasting for a few days. And then he keeps giving. Actually, it's demigods who came. No, nobody heard about Randidev.
Yes, yes, Mataji. Forgotten the
Yeah.
name.
Randi.
Yeah.
So there it is said that the demigods came in different forms to test Randi Deva, the king. So he was fasting for a few days, and he was about to break the fast. And the demigods came in different forms, and he started giving his prasad to them because he saw the super soul in everyone. And finally, a Chandala came with the dogs, and he gave the water and whatever remnants also to them. Finally, he didn't break the fast, and it was demigods got surprised to see Randidev, how much he was a humble sage and he was in true knowledge that he saw everyone equally. So, basis of mundane differentiation is on the species and caste. They differentiate, but that's not the real thing. The liberated, self-realized soul can see everything and everyone equally. That's equal vision. Spiritually, equality of living entities as spirit soul, and lots neutrally present in the heart as Paramatma. So he see everyone's as a part and parcel of Krishna. So as part and parcel of Krishna, it's only not only the human beings are the citizens of the country, even animals. They also belong to this particular place, and they have Paramatma in the heart. So Prabhupada mentions why animal slaughtering is doing. If a country is supposed to give protection to citizens, animals are also the citizens. Just because they are an animal body, we can't take advantage of it. Right? Similarly, in quality is the soul and super soul, but different in quantity. The individual soul is present only in a particular body. Paramatma is present in each and every body, like the king knows about everyone's property, but the citizen knows only about his land. So the breakout room is discussed with examples from his life, how Srila Prabhupada demonstrated the principles described in 5.18. So your discussion should be based on Srila Prabhupada's life. Okay, how Prabhupada was being a Vidya Vinay Sampane, and he saw everyone in a Samadarshina platform. Brahmane, Gavihastini, the Chandalas, and everyone in a equal platform. So you understood? Please refer 5.18 sloka. And then from his life, I need different qualities of Prabhupada. I mean, as a Pandita Samadarshina, as a Pandit, and how he saw everyone equal in different parts of his life. You can just take from different aspect and then please discuss and come back. Okay. Hare Krishna, all are back. Room number 3, 4 of them. Okay. So let's take from room number 1. Anita Mataji, Charu Mataji, Kumar Prabhu, Sarbani Mataji, Sri Devi Mataji. Who's going to speak? I'll just unmute. Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes.
Yeah, Mataji, Srila Prabhupada used to he gave example of a mosquito where he was there in the mosquito net on his bed with his attendant, and his attendant was going to kill the mosquito which was there inside the net. So Srila Prabhupada said, don't kill it, because even it is it's same like us because of its like karma, it's mosquito. So like then the mosquito was sitting on Srila Prabhupada's hand. So Srila Prabhupada said that now you can kill the mosquito because it is sucking my blood. So now you can kill. So the attendant then killed the mosquito, and Srila Prabhupada said that like you can't harm when it's not harming you. And one more example was that like just a few days back I heard like Srila Prabhupada was saying the Christians that you don't follow the Bible properly. You say that you are Christian but you don't follow the Bible, and you slaughter cows. So you should not slaughter cows. I mean, in Bible it's not written that you should not slaughter cows. So you should you should give respect to cows because they are our mother and they give the milk, and with the milk we can live long. And then Srila Prabhupada also mentioned about chandals, that when we eat food we should keep some for the chandals also, because even they are also hungry and they need food. And about the dogs also, Srila Prabhupada said that like when the food is offered to Lord, first thing we should go outside the house, and then we should call all the cows and dogs. We should offer them the prasadam, and then we can offer the prasadam to next to the guests. And then like small first the small kids, and then the guest, and then senior members, and then the family members, they can honor prasadam. And one more thing was that one of the Mataji shared that the when Srila Prabhupada, he was giving lecture one day and one cat had appeared. So one of the devotee was showing the cat, and then Srila Prabhupada said don't do it. And then Srila Prabhupada gave the cat mercy. And one more example is there of a hippie, to the hippie also Srila Prabhupada gave mercy, and he became devotee. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Bol. Nice examples. I like hearing about Srila Prabhupada. Good. So room number 2, Arvind Prabhu, Deyal Mataji, Dinesh Prabhu, and Nima Mataji. Yeah, you can unmute, Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you, Dharma. So we also had a lot of examples from the group. Everyone shared quite many examples. So I would like to start with that how Prabhupada went to the West and delivered the fallen souls, the hippies, who didn't even know who's Krishna. So he saw them equally, like as souls, and how he transformed them to Vaishnavas. Then he gave the opportunity to women, like as Chaitanya Prabhu, Mahaprabhu used to never interact with women. They were away. I mean, he kept them away. But Srila Prabhupada gave women also, he converted them to Vaishnavas, and even involved them in deity worship, which is actually not still, I think, prevalent in India. So that was one. So he saw even women as equal souls in spiritual platform. Then there was one incident which I remembered in Vrindavan when he was in the Radha Damodar temple. So his Western devotees had accompanied him, and they saw him that, even in that humble area, how the flies were sticking onto his body, but he was least affected. Like he didn't even bother. So that was one point. And then in the West again, sorry, yeah, there was one drug addict who was, hiding behind the bush, and when Prabhupada with his entourage, when he entered the temple, how he rushed in and fell flat on his feet, Prabhupada's feet, that please save me. So Prabhupada even delivered him, and that devotee was the #1 book distributor later on. Yeah.
Yes.
That was one example which came in my mind. Then how even again cow slaughter, how he was so much against cow slaughter, and he always stressed on cow protection, and also he wanted the Gurukul culture in India, not the modern education but the Gurukul education, which he emphasized more. So these were the points. And yes, again, one more point was that there was one thief who tried to snatch his Rado watch, but he even delivered that thief, and he even transformed that criminal into a devotee.
Yes.
Yeah.
So many nice
Mataji,
instances there.
Mataji,
Yeah.
two more points.
Yes.
He was always equipoised, because whether he in poverty or when he had multiple resources, that nothing disturbed him so far as Krishna consciousness is concerned, movement is concerned. And secondly, also he was very indifferent to physical ailments. Body, he had heart attack and all kind of problems, health problems. But he continued his mission. He ignored all those things because he knew that he was for a bigger mission, in fact, in these days.
Okay, great. So room number 3. Kishore Prabhu, Pujarinda Mataji, Shreya Mataji, Sudha Mataji, Kadambari.
Hare Krishna Mataji. What we discussed among that 1-2 point already covered, like hip is to happy.
Yeah.
That we have covered. Some few examples I like to narrate. That once in the evening time, Prabhupada in the Mayapur, he was in Baranda, and he saw that outside temple that there's remnants of the foods and those banana leaves used for distributing foods and all. It was thrown outside.
Yes.
And these dogs are fighting along with that. Some beggars, 1-2 beggars, they are also eating that, searching for that food. So he was crying, and his tears was rolling down from Prabhupada's eyes. At that time, he said to the temple authorities, and since then it is started that in and around the temple, somewhere 5 kilometers around, make sure that nobody is going hungry.
Yes.
To sleep. That is one. That one. Another incident, Mataji, I heard from Namanishta Das Prabhu in the Bhagavatam class, that
you're having network issue. We can't hear you.
Going Mataji is not audible.
Now it's better. Yeah, tell me.
In an Western temple, one beggar, he used to come and sit daily in the temple. Then only for food he used to sit. These temple authorities, they were very disturbed, and they wrote a letter to Prabhupada. Prabhupada was traveling in different temples. Then that reply came in that is he not tolerable? Like that, only one sentence, that was the reply.
You're talking about Crazy Peter?
Yes,
I think it's about Crazy Peter.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes,
okay. Then.
Okay. Then this one more incident I want to tell, that while when first time he was visiting, that this also I learned from this Bhagavatam class, that he was waiting in folded hand for that ticket. He was not getting the ticket, and that lady counter who was distributing the ticket, he was so humble that he was waiting for the last man to get the ticket, and he was waiting with folded hand that please give me a ticket. So
to Indira, that was Sumati Moraji, who was she was about to sanction the ticket, no, of the Shri India company. Good. Okay.
That was humble and all. Okay, thank you, Mataji. This is all we discussed during that.
Room number 4, Prakash Pariprabhu, Priyadarshini Mother, Rekha Mother, Supriya Mother, Dinesh Prabhu. Dinesh Prabhu is in 2 rooms, huh? Or you come from 2 devices?
Yeah, that's right. I was
okay.
in 2.
Nice. Okay, Prabhu. Yeah, who's speaking?
Priyadarshini
Krishna.
Mataji.
Yes.
Okay, Mataji. Yeah. Yeah, there are so many examples. Of course, most of them have been covered by the other three groups. We are the last room, so we hardly have any new points like that. But in addition to all of those, I think the Akshay Patra movement that is happening in ISKCON, it stands as an example.
You mean the food for life?
Yes, Mataji, food for life. Yeah,
correct.
Food for they serve, all over. They serve poor children.
Khichdi.
Yes, khichdi. They're free.
Yeah.
Everything is so.
Yes,
everything is free there. That shows. But the soul. I mean, how he cared for the soul in every human being. Prabhupada.
Yes,
I mean, all other points. I think Sotrao's example and then Hippies example. I think have been already covered by the others. So, in addition to it, this is what I wanted to add, Mataji.
Okay, thank you. Anybody likes to add some other pastimes of Srila Prabhupada?
Prakash Prabhu, do you want to add something? Prakash Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Mataji. No, I think you people are doing wonderfully well.
I just
Any
wanted to
extra
add
points?
one more point from my
Yes.
group. One of the devotee added that, so there was he had no differentiation between even if it is Christians or Muslims or, any other faith. When he was asked in a church that, what do you think about Jesus? So he said he's our guru because even he talked about the love for God.
Yes.
That was he saw everyone with an equal eye.
Mataji, one more thing, Mataji. The very fact that ISKCON is open to all people, it doesn't go by Brahmanas and all that, Actually, they doesn't believe that one is born by birth, one is a Brahmana. He can be transformed through his, behavior, That's one very great thing. So even others have a chance to come up in this movement, Mataji.
So for that, I like to add one point, many of the God brothers of Srila Prabhupada criticized him. What are you doing? You are converting the Yavanas and the Chandalas and the Mlechas to Brahmanas. I mean, Mlechas in the sense who were in the foreign country, not following all the four regulative principles were broken almost every day. That was their lifestyle. So all of them criticized. So Prabhupada had quote from the Shastras to prove that anybody by quality, guna and karma, because Prabhupada trained them personally, right, and made them follow the four regulative principles, and they were living in a sattvic style. So the so-called Brahmanas, the caste Brahmanas, were when compared to these hippies, were nowhere, because the hippies were getting up at Brahma Muhurta, chanting their rounds and eating prasad, and so much changes happened that just because by birth you are born in a foreign country and you're Mlecha doesn't mean you're not having a Brahmanic qualities, and Prabhupada made them, gave that quality to them. So even after so many criticisms, Prabhupada was so strong, like his guru, like a Simha guru. Yes. So yes, that was good.
Mataji, we discussed about Varnashram. Mataji just forgot about it. Varnashram, he did not differentiate in different sections, socioeconomic groups. He saw everybody as super soul, Shudra to Brahmana, everyone.
Yes, very good. Okay.
We discussed this point.
Nima Mataji, can you tell about the tree, the Tamal tree in Vrindavan temple? I like that. Yes.
Okay, there's a tree inside the Krishna Balaram temple, and it's it's obstructing on the way. But when the tree was there, the temple was being built, and people objected that the tree should be taken out. But Prabhupada said no, because it's like a Vaishnava, so he should stay there. So the tree is still there.
Very nice.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Yeah, so that was very beautiful, which I felt about the Tamal tree. So touched. Prabhupada was. Oh, Krishna, look at the time. I have another class coming up. Okay, can I hear from Sarbani Mataji, the last one? I forgot.
Mataji, I just want to know why the Tamal tree is even there in Mayapur also. I mean, it's brought from Vrindavan and it's there within the temple. I mean, outside the temple.
Because see, when Radharani was in separation from Krishna, she used to hug the Tamal tree and cry. Because Tamala Varnam, Krishna is supposed to be Tamala Varnam. So she sees in that the Tamal tree that Krishna is there. And then, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is nothing, none other than Radharani's bhav, right? He's Radharani's mood and bhav. So that is one of the reasons why Prabhupada preserves it. And in Vrindavan, the special cases, even a tree, even a monkey is in Vrindavan is a devotee, a Vaishnava, right? Because of some karma, some sin, they've been got that body. So in that way, the devotees, when they do parikrama, they fall at the feet of those trees, the Vaishnavas. They give shade. You don't know, some trees would be like there for so many years. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would have touched that trees, and they touch that trees. And especially in, where is that place? Nidhivan, where the Rasalila happened. Yeah, you if anybody have gone there, you'll be so surprised to see the trees. They're just standing as if some people are standing, like dancing. Like, because they are like small trees, and then they just spread like anything, just giving shade. And so beautiful to see that place. And every tree has kumkum on it because they consider they are gopis, and some Rajavasis, they put kumkum, and every day they sweep that floor, and so beautifully maintained. So about Mayapur, I don't know much about that Tamal tree, Mataji, but then this is what I know, that it represents Krishna. One more incident which I was about to say is Prabhupada saw a housefly, and the housefly was kind of weak. It was in the corner of the room. We don't even bother the houseflies in the room, but Prabhupada was just observing it. And when the disciple got a plate of prasad, Prabhupada's like, feed the housefly first, give some sweet. It's becoming hypoglycemic, it's just not conscious. So immediately the devotee gave some kind of a sweet to the housefly, and then had something, and this flied away. So I was like, how, even the small insect, Prabhupada is so much concerned about every living entity. So we can also have a nice relationship with Prabhupada. To have a personal relationship with Prabhupada, you just have to hear his lectures. Every day you hear his lectures, slowly you'll realize Prabhupada's talking to you. Prabhupada really talks to you, and then he starts guiding you, and you have some kind of questions in your mind. Next lecture you hear, Prabhupada clears it. I'm talking about my personal experience. So it just comes like that. And you are so confused about something in life. You're stuck somewhere, your spiritual life, material things, anything. You don't know whom to share with. You don't know whom to ask. And then Prabhupada just answers. But then you should have constant association with him. Constant. Every day read his books. Every day hear his lecture. See the magic in the life. So you start imbibing his qualities slowly when we start associating with a great soul. Okay. So who else have written? Khichdi has been like ISKCON khichdi. Nobody can match the taste of that. In Vrindavan, when we went, we could see like tons of khichdi being taken from the kitchen to the nearby villages, given to all the children and all on the way. So this is one way to convert them to Krishna consciousness, by giving Krishna prasad. Because what can we preach in village? They don't know Shastras. They are so ignorant. They are illiterate. Only thing that works in a village is just Harinam and prasad, right? Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Sarbani Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavad. Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, like here in Mayapur, there is one standees where it's written that within the 9 miles, all the beggars or poor people who are not having food, they should not go hungry. So like here khichdi is distributed every day. And one more example was there where Srila Prabhupada said that we have in our house lots of cockroaches and lizards and ants and lots other insects and animals. So we should also feed them before we feed ourselves. So they should also be given the food every day.
Yeah. So that's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. According to my karma, let I become an insect also, no problem. But I should become an insect in the house of a devotee. Why? You hear Harinam, you hear Kirtan, and you hear Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. And, when you are taking the prasad to that side, this side, some drops of prasad just falls on the ground, or, somehow they can taste it little bit. So, Tadiya Charana Sevi Bhakti Janebas Janame hoye abhilash. So my desire is to be a servant of your servant, or be in the association of devotees. Janama hoye yehi abhilash. This is my life after life, my desire. So a devotee is not desiring a liberation or anything else. What he wants is to be in devotee association.
But I heard, Mataji, in case you have to kill an animal, if you have to kill an animal because it's harming you, then you have to just utter Hare Krishna Mahamantra so that it gets elevated.
Kind of Bhakti Siddhanta Shastri saw a snake coming, and then he's like, kill that snake because it was poisonous, and if you don't kill, then definitely it's going to kill the devotees. So just chant the Hare Krishna, because they are hearing the Harinam, and especially when you clean the altar, when you clean your house, there'll be a lot of ants,
cockroaches and all that.
Yeah, so you have to clean them up, or better to throw them out, or in case you stamp on the ants and everything. But see, it's part of your service. You're trying to clean the temple of Krishna. So part of the service. You're not purposely doing it, right? And any harmful animal can be killed because it will cause harm to your life.
Inevitable. Whenever it is inevitable, we have to do it, Mataji.
Yeah, poisonous or something.
Also in Mataji, in sacrificial fire, sometimes animal is considered to be killed and gets liberated immediately. But we don't do it in Kali Yuga because of improper chanting of mantras by the Panditas, so that we don't do.
The animal sacrifice is prohibited, yes. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.